Hi everybody, welcome to Spencer and Kuehn Fine Jewelry Studio. I'm Katherine Spencer and I today to possibly do some sand casting. And the last time I did this was a very long time ago, so maybe bear with me because I think, oh gosh, I used to be a camp counselor at a summer camp up in Maine. And I think that was the last time I did it. So that was, I don't know, sometime between 2006 and 2013, somewhere in there. But I have a project today from a customer that needs to be cast because hand fabricating the metal is just going to be way too thick for me to be able to use it. I just realized that my light wasn't on. Hold on one second. There we go. Okay, so you can probably see things a tiny bit better. We've got pretty good lighting in the shop anyway, so it's not too bad. Anyway, so we're going to be sand casting, and the project that I have, like I said, it's a little too thick for hand fabrication. And so I'm going to show it to this camera over here. It is a very large signet ring. And in this case, we're going to be setting an onyx in the top of it. And so it'll end up looking like that when I have the onyx in place, but I've got a little seat for it. And so using the customer's gold, it's just going to be, so they brought in a bunch of pieces and I've melted them all together into this bar. Using the customer's gold is one way to help people save a significant amount of money. So obviously this customer doesn't have to buy any more gold because they've provided all the gold that we need for the project. So we're going to be making this large signet ring, and I've got lots of different pieces and parts all set up here to be able to do this project. I have obviously the mold itself, okay, and to create this, it's just using wax. So I have layered wax around this ring, blank. Okay, the gray part on the inside there, that was a ring blank. Okay, and then I added wax to the outside edges and the top to be able to create the rest of what I needed. To be able to cast this, like I said, need the customer's gold. And then I also need, going to be using this piece. Okay, this is going to go together and this is going to end up filling with sand. Okay, so I've got a casting crucible. I have some casting sand. Okay, and that casting sand is going to allow for, you know, the high temperatures that we need for casting, but allow enough detail to create what we're making. And I have some mold parting powder so that we can make sure that the two parts of the mold come apart when we are taking it together. I also have this borax flux, and this borax flux is going to help keep my metal clean when I am melting it. I have my melting crucible. Okay, so that's where I'm going to be melting my gold. And I just have a safe place for it to be. So it's just sitting on there. And I have my torch. And I've got a nice big tip on it. It's a little torch. It's called a little torch, and so it's made for like fine precision soldering work with jewelry. But it has lots of different torch tips. The tip of it right here It comes in lots of different sizes, 7 different sizes that we have. So you can go anywhere from a teeny tiny itsy bitsy flame to a big flame that this guy can create. A really big flame. Ooh, fire. So anyway, we will get to that in a minute. But in the meantime, we have the rest of everything that we need to prep. And so we're going to be putting together the rest of our project. So we're going to start off by filling up the mold right here with sand. Okay, and we're going to start from the back side of the mold by putting the center of the mold down onto my tray. And I've got my sand that I'm going to be filling up this direction. So I'm just going to grab some of my sand and start pressing that into the mold. And hold down everything nice and firm. So I can fill this up from the back side and create enough depth around the piece that I'm going to be casting so that when the molten metal is going to be poured in, I won't have any problems on this side of the mold. Okay, so let me grab one of my tools here for smoothing. Okay, and I also need to press that down. So use the other side to press. And some people hammer this down, some people press it. You know, different people get different results depending on what they're doing. We're not casting with fine detail today, but it still needs to be pressed nice and firmly so that, you know, you don't have any air pockets, you don't have any places that after you press your mold into the sand that will create irregularities. Okay, so I'm pressed down a little bit, use some of my excess sand here, and press that down again. I feel like I'm playing with Play-Doh. It's a little bit like that. It's got the consistency, if there are any parents out there, of, what is that, the kinetic sand? Or the, oh gosh, what is that stuff called? Is it kinetic sand? It gets all over your floor and all over the table. It doesn't come off of anything. It has some sort of, you know, oil in it so that it like never dries out. All right, so I'm just continuing to go slowly over this, making sure that I've got a nice even surface. And it's nice and packed down. All right, so let's see what the other side looks like there. There we go. That looks pretty good on the other side. All right, so the next part of this is we're going to use our separation powder. Okay, and the mold parting powder is going to help keep the two pieces from blending together on the surface. It's also going to help by making the metal separate from the sand when you go to take the mold apart and take the metal out. So we can use just a little bit of this, and I'm actually gonna grab a brush real quick. All right, so we're just gonna put a light coating of this between the two parts. There's a bunch of different ways you can do this. You can do this with a like a beanbag type of tool that you know, has the powder impregnated in it. You can tap it on like this, brush it on, however you feel comfortable doing it. And you don't need too much, just enough to create a good separation. Let's make it have some spots over here. All right. Close that up. Okay. And the other part, I'm going to make sure that I've got this part. This is where my piece is going to be pressing into the sand and coming out with the sprue. Okay, so this is going to be placed inside of there. I'll bring this a little closer to you up here so you can kind of see a little bit of what's going on. I've got this sprue coming up to the outside, and that's where the metal is going to be poured in. That's where I'm going to be pouring the molten gold when I do actually make the piece. Okay, and then these sprues that are attached are just to create more of an airspace, so that when you're pouring the metal in, it will go past the ring and help fill things up a little bit better. So the next part of what I'm going to do here is I'm going to press my piece into the sand. Let's see how it goes here. Okay, so I've got nice and firmly pressed. Got about halfway down into the sand. Okay. And now I want to make sure that my powder is also on my piece. So give that a little brush. On the sides. Okay. All right. And I'm going to add the other side here. Okay, and then we're going to be filling up the remainder of that with our sand. All right, let's get some sand in there. Okay. So on this side, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to press it down nice and firm. On the other side. On this side, I'm going to kind of hammer a little bit. A little bit. All right. So I've got my two pieces. Okay. And I need to take these apart to remove the ring. Okay, now it looks like some of my sand got stuck there. Okay, it looks like kind of stuck a little bit together there, and so I may have needed a little bit more separation powder to be able to have those two pieces come apart smoothly. Okay, so let's see here. Of course, we can always try it anyway and just see what happens. But we know that this casting isn't going to turn out correctly because we have those pieces not working right. Okay, so yep, and I needed more separation powder. This piece. And I needed more separation powder, so that's not going to work. That's not going to work. So I should probably start again if I'm actually going to do that. Okay, but in this case, it just didn't come out right because you have to take the ring out. I'm going to show you what the two halves look like there. Okay, you have to take the ring out to be able to cast, because in this way of casting, you cannot melt out the wax. Okay. So I'm going to have to do that again. And that's okay, because like I said, I haven't done this type of casting in years. So I was practicing in front of you. But I'm not going to make you watch me do it all over again. So for this episode, I'm going to have to stop because, you know, do you want me to do that again? I don't know, but that's okay. So I'll tell you what I will do is I will do it again, and I will make sure to post on our Facebook page some pictures after I get things in the right order. Okay? And in the meantime, I'm just going to sign off for the day because there's no point in melting all of this fine gold and trying to pour into something that I know is absolutely not going to work. So in the meantime, thank you for tuning in, and we will try again next week. All right, thank you and have a great day. Bye.